Hey everybody, it's Gumpel Melly. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a exciting model review. If you are a big Metabots fan, then you will be very happy. So I got me in Japan. Ta-da! Rokusho. I think his name is Dorcus. I don't know. Okay, his Japanese name, whatever it may be. Clearly I can't read this that well, but where do I start this? You guys are gonna see in the review. I did enjoy this. I actually enjoyed building him more than I did Metabee, because, well, I'm kind of biased because he was my favorite character from the show. I thought he was so cool, especially when he's got like his cape going on. This guy unfortunately doesn't have his cape or robe or whatever it was. Okay, he had this little cape action thing going on at times, and I thought it was so cool when I was younger. Doesn't come with this, but I did actually enjoy putting him together more than I did Metabee. Metabee, I was kind of, if I remember correctly, was a little bit of a frustrating build. This guy, not too much, so that was nice, but there are some things I don't like, which I will talk about towards the end of this video in my conclusion and thoughts. In terms of price point, I think this guy is fairly priced. I think I got him for like 40 bucks. What was he? This guy retailed for 4,590 yen. So that equates to, depending on where the dollar sits right now, that's like maybe $40, give or take. I think when I got him, it was like the exchange rate was like 40 bucks for this, maybe a little less. So I do think that it's priced reasonably, gosh. More than that, I would say probably not, because it's not a really complex kit. There's not a lot of detail. You guys will see that in the review. But that's pretty much it. Oh, let me show you guys the box. Looks really epic there. And these sides give you some information. And yeah, so that's the box that you're gonna get. And let's get into. All right, so first off, let's take a peek at the manual. Got some color right here. Here is the, transformation right there. That's what it looks like. It's pretty straightforward build. Nothing too overly complicated. And here it's going to start to show you how to do his little transformation and another color page. And that is it for the manual. This is really cool here, this illustration. You get a total of 6 different little kind of cartoon pop-up cards. I'm not exactly sure how to call them. You get one display stand, which you have a blank one too, so you can make your own little saying. And it just slides in like, oops, like that, and it stands up. So you get quite a few of these. You get a total of 3 different faces. Here are 2 of them. I currently have one on his head right now, which I will show you what the third one looks like. And this is the 3rd set of eyes that you get for this kit. So I like the variety. That's pretty nice. And what's nice is that you actually get a total of 6 different hands. You get 2 open palmed hands, 2 closed fisted, and then 2 kind of like grabby hands, I want to say. So definitely you got quite a bit of different options to display him with. You also get a little, I really don't know what this is called. I don't remember this. I'm gonna call this a Metabot token. This goes in the back of these guys, and I believe this is what gives them their soul. Honestly, I don't remember. I haven't watched this show in years, but it does include this, and it pops into his back. You get 2 sets of weapons, this kind of hammer looking thing, and a really cool looking knife. Alright, so here's the kit completely put together. It is panel lined and a slight top coat, matte, because I prefer that look, and this kit had a really kind of glossy look to it, which I don't really like on my models. So again, I did spray him with a matte top coat. Okay, so for his little pincers up here, they are on a kind of ball and socket joint. So they're pretty much articulated in like however direction you want to kind of put them in. And even, again, you can't do much with it because it will come out of its socket. But that's nice that they included some articulation. I honestly wasn't expecting that. For the head, you can look up about that much of a degree. and downwards pretty significantly. You can do a full 360 all the way around. And then, again, you can't do too much or it'll pop out of its socket. To the right. Okay. And to the left. So he does have a pretty decent range of motion on the head when it's not popping out. For the shoulders over here, the shoulder is another kind of ball and socket kind of joint. These things right here are articulated. They can go forwards and backwards, kind of like spin all the way around, but they cannot move up and down, if that makes any sense. Again, the shoulder is able to move this far forward, upwards, downwards slightly, and then back and front, just not too much because, again, it will pop out of the socket. It's kind of annoying. Here for the forearm, he's able to move out this much and move back in a little bit more until it starts to hit the torso. He does have a pretty decent bend here, about 90 degrees at the elbow. For his arm here, he's actually got two separate parts of articulation. So here, you're able to articulate just the lower portion, and then also here at the elbow, and then up at the top. So he's fairly well articulated here. It gives him quite a bit a range of motion, having all these different points of articulation. You can do a full 360 all the way around down here for the lower part of the arm, and the hands are kind of all another ball and socket kind of joint. So full 360 all the way around, and maybe a slight movement here and there around. Just again, can't be too hard because that happens, it will pop out. And I just want to mention that this guy's weapons are a little different from your traditional Gundam model kit. I'm going to compare the two because I mostly build Gundams, so that's all I have to go off on. He actually doesn't hold the weapons in his hands. They actually go connected to this little kind of hole right here you see at the end of his arm. So none of the weapons get held in his hand, but they all go connected to here. Kind of different, compared to what we're used to seeing on Gundam model kits, but I'll go with it, not a problem. All right, so moving on to the chest area. So these parts right here, the kind of ends of his chest, I want to say, do have some articulation, as you guys can see right here, but that's about it. The back's got nothing, but this part does open up, and you can again put in his little, we'll call it the soul token, and it goes right in there, and it's got a little thing that can go over to keep it in place. And then you just close it right back up. Goodness, guys, I'm just gonna leave his head off. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is a common occurrence right now. What you guys see, his joints will constantly pop off like that. Okay, there's no app crunch, but as you guys can see, this is the major problem with this kit right here. Get this to focus. That there's like no support there. It's kind of, this almost looks like a face, right? Two eyeballs. Am I the only one seeing this? I don't know, but the mouth is right here. Okay, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So yeah, this is what really annoys me of this kit. And even after I applied some flat coat, because sometimes top coat does help to stiffen up these joints a little bit, that really didn't even do much to kind of prevent the wobble in this guy. He cannot support himself very well, which is really annoying. Okay, so moving on to the articulation of the waist. Here you got nothing, one solid piece. Same thing with his booty bag here, that is one solid piece, no articulation. They're able to come out this far out and in. They can do a full 360 all the way around, and it pops off. Okay, they're able to bend about that far, so you got quite a bit of bend in that knee. And for the feet, which is pretty nice, they're actually really well articulated. As you guys can see, his little toe and heel can come inwards and outwards. I'm sure that's part of the transformation. And again, you can move this. Nope. Gotta be careful because everything pops off on this guy. And then you can also tilt them inwards and outwards. You can see there's a slight articulation there in that lower foot. And that pretty much covers all the articulation you get on this guy. Okay, so to do a quick size comparison, so you guys can see how big or small this guy really is. here he is next to a high grade aerial Gundam and a master grade Sandrock. So as you guys can see, if it weren't for his little pincers on his head, he's basically the size of like your standard high grade. And lastly, here he is standing next to Metabee. Which kit do you guys like more? Honestly, Rokusho was my favorite, but I think Metabee looks better as a model than Rokusho does. In my opinion, I just feel like this just looks like a better model, you know, translated than he does. All right, now let's showcase some of his poses. Okay, so here is the transformation. Honestly, I feel like this is something out of a horror movie. I really don't like this at all. Like, it's not pleasing to my eyes. Everything just looks wrong. I really don't like this. I know I'm just a hater, but yeah, I can't co-sign on this. I cannot. This just looks so ugly. And honestly, it was such a pain to transform him. He was like Metabee. Everything just kept popping off and I was getting really flustered. But I love you guys so much that I was like, you know, I'm gonna put up with the torture and just transform him anyways, because I know it's gonna take me another 30 minutes to put him back into his non-scary looking form. Oh, and before I forget, you also get a little display piece so you can display him, not in this mode, but the other one, and attach him to a stand. So time for my final thoughts. Let's see, where do I start? Okay, so price, he's good. Not cheap, but not expensive. Kind of like at that middle ground, you know what I'm talking about. It just depends, because for that price, you could probably get a few master grades and have more fun building that than this, in term, you know, because master grades they're bigger, they're more complicated. You know, you kind of get more of your value's worth in terms of how long it, you know, if you see it as, okay, this kit, for instance, takes me like 2 hours to put together versus a kit that costs the same that only took me like, you know, takes you 30-45 minutes to put together. So if you look at that in terms of that, then obviously you get more money's worth buying a master grade for the same price, because this kit really, I guess, it was not complicated at all. I want to say it's on the scale of maybe like a high grade. So, you know, if you look at it that way, then yeah, it's kind of expensive, but it's really your kind of own, you know, it's a very opinionated matter. Is it expensive or is it cheap? I kind of find it in the middle, maybe slightly on the expensive side for what you get in the box, you know? So yeah, price always is kind of complicated to kind of gauge. But for me, I do think he's a little expensive, honestly, for what you're getting. So aside from that, the details, surface details, are not much, honestly. There's not much detail there. I was expecting that after building Metabee. I already knew that this guy was probably gonna be more on the plain side. but I do believe that it's more anime accurate that way, you know, because that's how it looked in the cartoon. So obviously the model, I guess, is trying to stay true to that, but I do feel like they could have, you know, done a little bit more, just like the newer Digimon kits that released. They kind of took their own spin on things and made them really like kind of crazy looking and got all this detail and look super epic. Kind of wish they would have done that with these releases of the Metabots, but you know, that's just my opinion. Some people like simple and plain. I like more like crazy funky looking kids. So kind of on the plain side, but you can always fix it. You can always make your own panel lines if you want. So that is fixable. Then comes down to the joints, the flimsy joints. I think Metabee had the same issue. They're just flimsy as heck, and it's really frustrating. It just wobbles all over the place. I even used top coat on this kit to see if maybe that kind of would fix a little bit of his wobbliness, or sturdiness, whatever you want, whatever word you want to use, and it helped like a smidge. I want to say a smidge. But yeah, that joint, that waist joint is really frustrating. Very frustrating. I don't like wobbly kits. I like sturdy. I like them firm. I don't want to have to pick it up and they're like immediately like this, you know, that's kind of aggravating for me. So I'm not really feeling that. So I really don't know what to rate this guy. If you're a Metabots fan, then I would say obviously you need to add it to your collection. I did have fun building him. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. But would I prefer another kit to put together? Obviously, yeah, definitely. Do I regret buying him? No, because I now have both Metabee and Rokusho. But you know, it's just hard to say. Do I recommend this guy or not? Just because I really hate that wobbly middle joint. I mean, I'm in between. Honestly, I'm in between. It's hard for me to say go for it, knowing that, you know, it kind of sucks sometimes. I'm torn because I really wanted to like this kid. I really did. I really wanted to like him, but I honestly, I don't really. I'm gonna say I don't like that loose middle joint, waist joint. It's killing me. It's killing me. I don't know who designed that thing. Maybe I put it together wrong. I don't think I put it together wrong. You guys let me know in the comments. I just don't like that loose joint at all. It's ticking me off. Like, I don't like it. So I'm probably gonna give this kid a thumbs down. There, I said it, thumbs down. I'm sorry. I wanted to like this guy so bad. I think $45 was way too expensive for this guy having that issue, and I probably would be feeling different if I paid $25. I would have different. I was like, oh yeah, you know, thumbs up for this guy for sure. But 45 bucks, there's a lot of other models that you can get for that price that are much better than this. I think that's where it comes down to, you know, having built so many, it's just, I just feel like for $45, this is what I get, and this is the end result. I'm not really happy. So I would say if you're not a Metabots fan, save your money and you can buy, there's a whole list of models that you can get for that price point that are going to be better than this guy. But if you're a Metabots fan, then obviously, then, you know, add it to your collection. So I guess that's going to be my final thoughts, because I could literally, you guys know, I could ramble on forever. So let me not do that and bore you guys. And that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you around for the next one. Adios. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to all the people over my Patreon for always supporting my channel, especially those gold tier members who are Gregory Fraser, Chris Wright, and Michael Lyons, and all my ultimate fans who are Chalice Yabut, David Sakura, Hassan Baz, Madi, Michael Lawrence, and William Tony. Thank you guys for all the support.